Proprietary rights form the foundation of ownership in modern society. These legally recognized rights determine who can own, use, transfer, or benefit from both tangible and intangible property. Understanding these rights is essential for anyone involved in business, real estate, or creative endeavors. At their core, proprietary rights are the legal authority to control property. They give individuals and entities the ability to own, accumulate, hold, delegate, rent, or sell their property. These rights extend to physical resources like land and buildings, as well as intangible assets like intellectual property. Property rights come in several forms. Private property rights allow individuals to exclude others from using their property. Communal or government property is legally owned by groups but enforced by those with political or cultural power. Open access property belongs to no one, while common property is owned collectively by a specific group. In contract law, proprietary rights appear as clauses that specify ownership and control. These clauses define which party retains or gains rights to intellectual property, data, designs, or deliverables. For example, in software licensing agreements, one party may retain proprietary rights to code created during a project. These contract clauses typically clarify ownership, limit how the other party may use the property, restrict unauthorized transfers, and establish obligations for returning or destroying proprietary materials when the contract ends. Including these clauses is crucial for protecting business assets. Real property rights apply specifically to land and objects on it. While most people agree that landowners have rights over stationary objects like homes, trees, and minerals, disagreements often arise regarding things that move across property, such as wildlife and water. These situations make property rights complex and sometimes contentious. Private property rights are particularly important in capitalist economies. They include three key attributes: the right to determine how property is used, the right to income generated from the property, and the right to delegate, sell, or rent any portion of the rights. It's important to distinguish between proprietary rights and possessory rights. Proprietary rights grant legal authority to control property even without physical possession. Possessory rights refer specifically to the right to physically hold or occupy property. A tenant, for instance, has possessory rights but not proprietary rights. The way individuals acquire property rights depends on the freedom of exchange within a country. In societies with strong private property rights, property can be transferred through sale, trade, rent, inheritance, or other mutually agreed exchanges. In contrast, regimes without private property rights often distribute ownership through government control. Property rights provide numerous benefits to owners. For landowners, these might include the right to sell, lease, mortgage, donate, or subdivide their property. Communities also have their own set of rights, such as taxing, taking property for public use, and regulating how property is used. In the digital age, proprietary rights extend to intellectual property and digital assets. These include copyrights for creative works, trademarks for brand elements, patents for inventions, and trade secrets for confidential business information. Digital proprietary rights are especially important in technology-driven businesses. Property rights are typically defended through laws and legal systems. Courts hear and settle property rights disputes, helping to enforce ownership claims. The more restricted the use and rights of the property, the more defense it will likely need. A lack of property rights can lead to several problems. Without clear ownership boundaries, resources may be stolen or exploited. Scarce resources might be misused or overused, as seen in cases of pollution, overfishing, or deforestation. Some economists even associate a lack of property rights with urban overdevelopment. Countries are often graded on their protection of property rights. Nations with secure, clear, fully enforced laws protecting private property receive higher scores. The United States ranks 17th out of 180 countries, with Hong Kong scoring highest, and North Korea lowest. Proprietary rights ultimately serve as the foundation for market economies, enabling secure and voluntary exchange. By clearly defining ownership and control, these rights reduce conflicts and create the conditions for economic growth and innovation. Whether in real estate, intellectual property, or business contracts, understanding proprietary rights is essential for protecting your assets and navigating legal relationships.